I just wasn't sure how it was going to work. Like, I'll just give this a try. That following year, I almost hit 200,000. It's not oversaturated. I think you just really need to work on finding a customer to serve. That's where you'll find the success.
Welcome, everyone, to the Etsy Seller Success with Dylan Jarvis podcast. I'm so excited to have a special guest here, Candice Schlotman. Welcome, Candice.
Thanks, Dylan. I'm happy to be here.
I would love to kind of dive into your story because I think you are someone that a lot of our viewers can relate to. And I think your story is so inspiring. Also, what you've done with Etsy and the growth and the progress that you've had, especially in the last year. Tell everyone a little bit first about your background, because it wasn't always Etsy, right?
No. So I have a degree in graphic design. And so I graduated in 2013 and I went right into the corporate world. After that, I was a corporate in-house designer and I did that, 5-7 years. And then I did some ad agency work. And then for the agency, we did some B2B, but it's quite a shift corporate to, this other side, which I love because I get to really nourish my creativity.
Right. And you started on Etsy how many years ago now?
I opened my shop in March of 2021.
Tell everyone kind of what the success has looked like in 2021. What did revenue look like? 2022, 2023. How was the growth?
It started out very slow because like I said, I don't really have that like any sort of retail experience or anything like that. So it's just kind of me putting out things that I liked and just kind of seeing what worked. So my first year of revenue, it was, I think, around 21,000, 22,000. I opened in March and it took me a couple months really to get that first sale. And then once that happened, then I figured out, okay, this is what's working. This is kind of what people are looking for. And then I was kind of able to start building more listings off of that. But I was thrilled, like when I got to the end of the year, that I had even gotten to that point. I just wasn't sure how it was going to work. Like, I'll just give this a try. And then I decided to really focus on it. That following year, 2022, I ended up probably about 112,000 revenue. Yeah. And last year I almost hit 200,000. My sales were over 200, but when you get your statement, it was just under 200,000. That was really, really exciting for me.
Wow. And so you are doing this full time now, right?
I am. So I opened my shop because I had my youngest daughter in December of 2019. And that's actually the anniversary coming up of the COVID shutdown, but COVID happened in 2020. I had a newborn baby. I had decided before COVID even happened that I was not going to be going back to the office. I just knew it wasn't going to work. My older daughter was busy with activities. And so, I'm the chauffeur, the baby, and I needed to figure out something that was going to work for me. So to be able to earn some income and also, be creative, because that's just what I do.
That's a scary jump to go, having a newborn plus, a little bit of an older daughter too, going from safe corporate job to deciding, okay, now I have two people relying on me and I'm not going to go back to work. How did that feel? Was that scary, or how did you even push through that fear?
Really, I needed to make it work. With having her just being a little baby with COVID, I just did not want to be, out. It was a survival thing. I was like, okay, this has to work.
I see a lot of times when people don't have another option, they really truly feel like this has to work. Failure is not an option. They'll make it happen. We just do, especially as moms. For you, what do you think it was? Going from 20,000 to then over 100, what do you think it was that really got you traction with Etsy?
I didn't give up. Like I said, it was a slow start, but it was exciting. Each sale was a win. And I just built off that momentum. Things aren't always going to be great. You're going to have upset customers. I don't like people being upset with me. That's a huge, I would just get sick to my stomach. I would see a message or a help request and it just would make me sick to my stomach. And I was just like, nope, just push through. Don't take it as a personal rejection. This is a business. And I just really had to shut that side off. And that really helped. I've built up so much internal fortitude. I don't know, just to be able to deal with that, because I know that's hard for a lot of people. It definitely is for me, because oh no, now they don't like me and they don't like what I have, but it's just fix it. And if you do everything you can to fix it, you did what you did, and they're happy or they're not. And if they're not, then that's fine. That was the hardest thing for me. It was just pushing through, oh, somebody's unhappy. Oh, I got a bad review. Oh, my sales are down. So many times I would want to be like, no, I don't want to do this, but no, you just have to keep pushing through, and it just gets so much better, and you just build up resilience.
I think something that you do really well, I see you post like positive wins. I love seeing that because, you hit 10,000 sales, like win, that's a win. I remember this, I saw this maybe it was a month ago. You got an order for like $3,500. People want to know who would spend $3,500 with one shop at one time.
I can't say who
Yeah.
it was. So, I mean, they didn't tell me who
Uh,
they were or who they worked for, but I figured it out. So it's a large corporation.
okay.
And so they placed an order for one of my items to use as part of their awards for they do franchise awards for their like highest performing franchises. And so they placed an order for one of my items to actually be like part of their award that they give.
That's
So that
amazing.
was really exciting. When I figured it out, I was just like, I had to text my daughter and she was freaky. She's like, oh my gosh. I think if I said it, some people would be like, really? But like for me, it was exciting. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big corporation. So to be able to just have them see, like, without Etsy, that wouldn't have happened. I don't think I would have the exposure. Like Etsy is able to put me in front of so many more people. And I have the trust that people have with Etsy, like that's helping me.
A lot of people think, why would I want to give some of my margin to Etsy? But, what would you say to that if they're like, well, why don't I just start a website instead?
So, part of my background is I also design websites. I would design websites for our business clients. So I would know you have to drive traffic to your own website. And that alone is a whole nother animal. That's something I can do, but that takes a lot of time. It also takes money. You can do it without spending money, but it's a lot of work. Having Etsy do that legwork for me, it's completely worth it. It's like having employees.
Hmm.
It really is. It's like having a marketing team. I've been looking at it from that standpoint. Not,
Yeah.
"Oh, they're taking this money from me." It's like, "No, they're putting me in front of so many people." Plus the trust
Mhm.
that customers have with the platform and with Etsy and having them behind me. I really try to get that across, like, in some Facebook groups and stuff, you get people like, I only made this much per sale and Etsy's taking all of this money. And I just try to say, hey, like, so this is what you would have to do if you were paying somebody to do marketing, if you paid somebody to do your website and all of that, like you would be spending that much money.
You are a one-person show, right? Or do you have employees right now?
I am a one-person show, but I have reached a point where I do need to make a hire.
So you've done almost 200,000 on your own. And tell me a little bit, because people are going to think, how did she do that? Did she really do that on her own? Like, what is the business model? Print on demand, physical products, digital?
So I do print on demand. The reason being is, I mean, I am a crafty person, but really like design is my jam. So
Mhm.
it's like, okay, there's all these opportunities to put designs on products. And so I decided to go that route. So, I mean, essentially, it's like having employees because I mean, I'm paying a vendor to make the item for me. That takes a huge amount of time off of me. Granted, some of my items, I mean, they take me, all my items are personalized. Most of them are.
Yeah.
That takes some time. Not having to produce the item and ship
Mhm.
it saves me a ton of time. And now I'm to the point where I have so many orders
Mhm.
that I need help processing those. I'm not sure about outsourcing the design stuff. I mean, that will take some time, but as far as that administrative side and some customer service, and I mean, I get so many inquiries and, also the customer service, before the sale, after the sale, during the sale, during the process. That's a lot of messages that I end up sending a day. So
Yeah, because like your top month that you've done by yourself, what kind of revenue like was your best month ever? Do you remember?
almost 30,000.
Almost 30. That's amazing. And so one person doing that, that's a lot. So at this point, you're looking at scaling. What is the goal for the business?
I would say a million revenue
Yeah.
for sure, just to start. I mean, that obviously your profit is not $1 million, but that would just be huge. I think that's totally doable. Just the growth that I've had in the 3 years. The only way I'm going to be able to do it is if I hire somebody. So I know, like, to reach that goal, I'm going to have to do that. One of the things that I'm working on this year, and
Mhm.
I haven't talked with anybody in the group about it yet, but I'm really wanting to move into stationery. I am a stationery junkie. So I'm thinking about doing planners.
Yeah.
I would love to eventually see some of my items in retail stores. That's a part of the plan. I'm not going to say it to happen right away, but that's something that I'm working on.
That's
So
amazing. Something about your shop is that people think that to make multi six figures on Etsy, you have to have thousands of listings.
Yeah.
Tell everyone how many listings you have because I think this is incredible.
I think it's less than 30.
20, I see 28 right
28. I chat with Saskia all the time,
now. Yeah.
and she's like, "You gotta add more listings." Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I do. I absolutely do. It's just I haven't had the time. I mean, I can do so much with the listings I have to, like, make more listings off of that.
Yep.
But I have been able to be successful with having less than 50 listings. It's the quality of the
Yep.
listing. That's a huge point to drive home, I think, is the quality of your listings.
A lot of people, they don't know what they're doing. They just watch YouTube videos and they think, okay, I listened to 20 different people and they all gave me like a tip. I'm going to create 1,000 listings based on those tips. And surprise, surprise, they're not seeing any results. And they
Right.
think, I just need more listings and then I'll get better results. But you are proof that is not at all true, right?
Right. I think it is important to have a lot of listings, but
Mhm.
it's not necessary, and the quality is so important, and that's why it takes me so long to get a listing up, is
Yeah.
because I'm like, "Okay, like, does it look good?" I'm doing the research to make sure it's something people are looking for, and then kinda once you hit that, then you can work on doing, like, variations of that quickly and expand off of that, but I don't think that you can expect to open up a shop that sells t-shirts with text designs and put up, I mean, I suppose if you put up 5,000 listings, you'll get a couple sales, but you're not gonna really, if you're wanting to be successful, you're not gonna be reaching a customer. You just need to be able to, like, drill down, have a quality product, and work from there.
And I think something that a lot of people don't understand, but that you do really well is how do I target profitable customers and not just pick a niche? Because your shop could easily be just in like the baby niche, but then
Right.
you had a $3,500 sale to a business. Your aesthetic is so cohesive, but you're targeting many different customers. Tell me a little bit more about maybe something in the last year that you've done to really get you this significant growth. Do you think there was maybe one or two things that contributed to that?
I did work on my branding. I'm a graphic designer. I should have that nailed down, but it's kinda like I can never say the quote right about the cobbler and the shoes. Like, the cobbler makes the shoes, but his kids never have shoes or something like that. Like, like, doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, I really need to, like, focus on this." And once I joined the course,
Mhm,
like, I was able to really kind of just get it together, be like, "Okay, yeah, I can do this, and this is what I need to do." I got a lot of tips
mhm.
because, like I said, my experience is more like, B2B, like, how do I make this, consumer friendly?
Yeah.
And so I was able to really kinda, like, look at other students in the course, like,
Mhm,
kind of see what they're doing and get advice from coaches. I had a shop audit that
mhm.
was incredibly helpful. There were so many things, easy things that I wasn't even doing, and I was still being successful, but just doing those small things has completely changed the game.
Yeah, and a lot of people think, "Okay, well, I'm already doing okay. Do I really need help? I'm doing 10,000 per month or 20,000 per month. What would this actually do for me?" What would you say to people who are doing okay on Etsy? They're making okay money, but maybe they're thinking, would I really benefit from help?"
Right. Well, if you want to stay where you're at, okay, then keep doing what you're doing. But if you want to be able to grow, you need help. I mean, there's always room for improvement. There's always things to learn. I mean, I think, oh yeah, my shop is fairly successful, but I feel like I hit a plateau. It's almost like I got to a point where my wheels were spinning. And so being in the course has just given me the opportunity to chat with other sellers and get the input from coaches, input from you, and to really just be able to take a step back and be like, oh, let's try this, let's try that. This is
Yeah.
working, this isn't working. That was the biggest thing. It's like if I'm comfortable and I'm
Mhm.
okay with staying comfortable, I can just keep doing what I'm doing. But if I really want to take this to the next level,
Yeah.
like this is what I need to do. I need to get some eyes on this, make a commitment to it.
And $1,000,000, I mean, that's a great goal. I definitely think you can get there. You have that persistence. Really, at this point, you've been successful. You're seeing huge growth. What has that done, like, for your life?
Well, it's allowed me to be able to stay home. I take my little one to school. I had to leave the house at 2:30 to pick her up. And luckily, my oldest is 16 now, so that's really helpful. Drives herself places, so I'm not chauffeuring her around anymore. But I mean, I'm able to be there for her soccer games. And I could do that before, but it was just always like, it's just hard. Got to leave work early, got to do this early. Like, I don't have to worry about that. For spring break, we are taking a trip to go visit my parents in Oregon, and we get to be gone for a week. And I just was like, okay, we're going. And I get to take my work with me. Like, I have the freedom to do that. I can work on that while I'm there. Like,
Yeah.
my shop doesn't have to shut down. I can keep going.
Isn't it a great feeling when you're on a trip and you hear the orders coming in and you're making money while you're enjoying yourself? That's
Right.
pretty amazing.
Yeah, the cha-ching sound on the phone is like the best thing ever. So
And for you, I mean, you've been on Etsy a little while now, but do you think it is oversaturated for people who are, they want to do print on demand? They're looking around, they're thinking, is there room for me here? What would you say to them?
absolutely. There are tons of sellers on there, thousands of items that aren't great. There's always room for improvement. So yeah, someone's selling a t-shirt with XYZ. How can you make that better? Can you
Mhm,
do a better design? Just take a little extra time and
mhm.
effort. If you're able to like really look at it creatively and be like, okay, like I can use my skills, it's not oversaturated. I think you just really need to work on finding a customer to serve. That's where you'll find the success, because then you have some more direction.
You've been on Etsy a couple years, and I know, you've built websites for people and everything as well, but what is your favorite thing about being an Etsy seller?
I would say the creative freedom that I have. Before, I was doing work for clients, so it's really kind of what they wanted. And granted, now I'm like trying to make sure it's what the customer wants, but I really get to have more creative freedom. And a lot of it, part of it is too, is like a customer doesn't know what they want, but you tell them what they want. That's really been a great thing for nourishing my creativity. One of the books that we had when I was in university was How to Be a Graphic Designer Without Losing Your Soul. Because doing client work, it after a while, it starts to be a little soul sucking, as they say. So
Yeah.
it's really kind of been nice to be able to really leave that part behind and really nourish my creativity. And now I'm working on these personal projects that I want to turn into physical products in the stationery industry. And I'm like super excited about that. It's a wonderful opportunity for creatives.
And that's interesting. A lot of people think that they're just going to be stuck working, 30, 40 years for someone else. And then they just look forward to the day when they can retire or maybe go part-time, but gritting their teeth and pushing through because they don't see that they have another option.
Yeah, and I think that's really been a huge wake-up call for a lot of people, to be honest, about, what they want their lives to look like, how they can spend more time with their family, how they can feel more fulfilled. Yeah, I love that I'm able to continue to work, but also, like, do these things I wanna do. Building this business is going to give me so much more opportunities.
Yeah, options. And the
Yes.
fact that your youngest is only 4. These are memory-making years that
Yes.
you could never get back.
And I know how quickly it goes by because her oldest sister is 16, and I swear yesterday she was the same. She was 4,
Yeah.
and she's already driving, so
Yeah. So now you have the luxury, financial freedom. I think it's about options, having options. And you have that now to where you can spend your time. If she's homesick, you can be there for her. You don't have to scramble and take your vacation days, for something like this. And for other Etsy sellers right now who are feeling stuck, maybe they didn't even have a $20,000 first year like you did. What would you say to them?
just keep going. Don't give up. If you need to maybe take a step back for a minute and reevaluate that, that's fine, but the persistence pays off. Take a breather. Hey, maybe this listing isn't working. Scrap it, do something different, but just keep going and you'll see the success. You just have to keep going. I think that so many people fail because they expect to see like the success like immediately, and it just takes persistence and time. If you put in the work, you'll see the results.
And the growth can be compounding. It doesn't have to be 20K, 40K, 60K. It could be 20K, over 100K, almost
Yes.
200.
I noticed I call it like the snowball. I remember once I hit 1,000 sales, God, I wish I knew how long it took me to hit that. I should have wrote that down, but I was like, "Oh, wow." And I like knew like once I hit 1,000 sales and then it's just and now I'm just about to hit 11,000. I just hit 10,000. I'm about to I mean, it just speeds up and speeds up and speeds up. Like once you hit that point, then it just starts to snowball and it's incredible.
Yeah, but most people give up well before 1,000
Yes.
sales. That's so true. I think that's a great testament to if you are just willing to stick it out and push through, it is worth it. Look at your life now, and what's ahead.
It's so exciting.
Candice, I think your story has just been so helpful for so many people. If they would like to connect with you or shop with you, where can they find you?
So my shop name is Fresh Letter Studio. I am also on Instagram at Fresh Letter Studio. I haven't had a lot of time to work on that, but I'm getting there. So I would love if you would follow me over on Instagram and take a look at my shop.
Yes, she has a great eye for design, and it's really just inspiring to see the collection that she curates within her shop. So I would love for everyone to go check that out. If you have any questions about Etsy, about choosing customers instead of niches, reach out to myself and my team over on Instagram as well. But Candice, just thank you for being here, and congratulations to you and your
Thank
hard
you
work.
so much.
I'm super proud of you. Um,
Thanks, Dylan.
I think it'd be really fun to connect in 6 months to a year and really just update everyone on how much closer to that $1 million mark we are.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Thanks, Candice.
Thanks, Dylan.